Hi, everyone. Welcome to All Things Hemp and Wellness. I'm Melissa Temple Augusta. If you didn't tune in to the first episode, which was replayed last week, for those that missed it, you can find the recording on our YouTube channel, and I will send that to you. If you signed up for the webinar, we have your email address, and I can just send it to you, or you can email me as you have my email. You can also just look up Hemp Lifestyle on YouTube. Or send me a message on Facebook. I gave you all of my contact information last time too, so hopefully that was helpful. This episode is going to be very different. In this series, All Things Hemp and Wellness, we will be tackling a different subject every time. And we started with the basics, a lot of things about hemp and why we need it and the science, and some other benefits in that industry, some things to consider when you're looking into products. And I promised you that we would also talk about the business of hemp, among other wellness topics that are to come. Not everything is going to be about hemp, but we're kicking this off because a lot of people have been asking me about my journey, my story. And I did a big conference a few years ago, and I did this presentation that's on the screen in front of you. However, I just wanted to use this today to tell you my story. And those of you that are tuning in will be getting to know a lot of things about what I've learned in the hemp industry and the wellness industry in general. But why am I here? That's always the big question. So my journey is not just from cosmetics to cannabis. It's not just from the cosmetics industry to the hemp world. It's also about how I actually pivoted and why I made the decision to do that from the corporate world over to being an entrepreneur and a business owner myself of several businesses. So let me start from the beginning. This is my why all over the screen. So we all have a why. We all have people or things or reasons that drive us every day to wake up and do what we do. And I really believe we all have a purpose. Some of us are still trying to find it, and some of us have been working on fulfilling that for quite some time. Everybody's at a different place, and there's never the wrong time to start. I think that I knew that my why was giving a better life to these people on the screen, to my family, to help us all feel great, to help us all have ease and flow in our lives and less worry. But I was in the grind, of course, and I was just trying to make money, and I loved my career, and I loved the people I worked with, and I learned so much. But I was traveling a lot, constantly going, and some things were happening along the way with my health that I just tried to cover up with medicine, and just was always searching for a way to get out of that rut. And so how I really started thinking heavily about this was when I had a car accident. My husband and I were actually in a car accident. And I had been in other car accidents before them, but they were minor. This one was definitely life-changing. It was 23 years ago. And it really changed the trajectory of my entire life. And I don't think I realized it at that time, but there were some things that happened immediately after the accident on the emergency surgery table that woke me up and made me realize that something has to change. I have things that I'm supposed to be doing in this life that I haven't started doing yet. And all of these, the things you're seeing on the screen right here are subsequent surgeries. The one on the left, I had, my collarbone was broken in half. I had 10 broken bones above my waist, but the big one was the collarbone. It's very structural, and the bones around it were also broken. So I had to have a metal plate put in to hold my collarbone together. That was the emergency surgery that very evening or the next morning, whichever it was. It's a blur. But then years later, just dealing with the pain of what happens when you break that many bones and you're trying to heal. You have degenerative disc disease, and you have chronic pain, and you get on more medicine, and you do more therapies and things, and then you age, and you have a child, which is something that I was lucky enough to accomplish in the midst of the period after this, many years later. But I was always searching for something to help me with all of this. Most recently in 2015, I had that cervical surgery that you see on the right. And that was a time that really helped me examine even closer what I was doing. And so I started thinking about just my mission to feel better naturally. In 2015, when I had that cervical surgery, after all these years of taking, 10 pain medicines and just constantly trying to put a Band-Aid on something that really needed me to go deeper and to go to the source of what was going on to reduce inflammation, just to learn about it, So I really invested a lot of time. I was laid off in 2015 from my wonderful career of over 25 years. And it was time to not go back to that grind, but to really make a decision and make a change. And it was a hard one. But while I was recovering from the surgery, I actually started a couple businesses, and 2015 was a turning point, not only in my life, but obviously my health. So I really was on a mission. I didn't know the mission was to help other people doing these things you see on the screen, but I just knew from myself and that for myself, I had to do these things. So I started doing acupuncture and herbal remedies and anti-inflammatory supplements like turmeric. I became a medical marijuana patient when we had moved to California. And I realized, though, that I couldn't be on that all of the time with a little kid in school. I wanted to be active with him and be volunteering and present in his life. And that was another reason why the corporate world was not working out for me anymore. I probably easily could have gone back there, and I respect people who do that. It's good for them. But for me personally, I just needed to do a little bit more self-care, a little bit more thinking about what I needed. And I suggest everybody does that. Everyone's different. You don't have to do what everyone else is doing and what's expected. No one knows but you inside what's right for you. And that's what I realized, that once I knew all of this, and I also learned that what we talked about last time, that the cannabinoids from hemp could actually help you with so many things in your life, even the day-to-day things like your mood and your sleep and your stamina and just everything that you need, reducing stress, not just the big guys that people think of cannabinoids for. But I also love the fact that they could help me without the psychotropic effects. And so I'm a fan of all of it, and it is a beautiful plant. God put it here to help us all. But I was learning, and this was a good thing. So 8 years ago, I realized my real purpose, which was to start a business that could help people. And I did that in several ways. I started my consulting business, which I still do today. I consult with companies doing what I did at L'Oreal through MTA Consultants Collective. And in that business, I get to be creative in a way that I'm very comfortable with, that I know I can help companies with their training and their instructional design and developing programs for employees and clients and customers, all of those wonderful things I love doing. But then later in the year in 2015, I started with my business partner, Hemp Lifestyle. And through that business, we learned quickly that we can mentor other people to be successful in the hemp industry, and we can help people who never thought they could participate to do just that. So we were on a mission together now. So my personal mission became our mission as a team, and we just started getting out there and telling the world about it. I think that's important, that people talk about what they're doing, especially in this wellness business, because everybody has different reasons. So if you're thinking to yourself, okay, so how do I transition from being an employee to an entrepreneur? I need to make money. I need to pay the bills. And I want to say that some people start this process as a side gig, and some people dive right in because they have the opportunity to do so. There's no right or wrong. You can always ease into this process, as I did. And I think, first of all, you have to think about and decide what's important to you and why you're choosing to do this. It's not always about money. It's about time freedom. It's about the ability to control your own schedule, be with your family on their terms and on their schedule, and work when you want to work. Sometimes it's for different reasons. So I say, just examine that, write it down, talk to your family and your partner about that. And then you have to think about, what do you want to do? Who do you want to align with? Do you have the resources to start your own thing from scratch and make everything and produce everything and do everything like I did at MTA Consultants Collective? Or do you want to align with another company that already aligns with your purpose, your mission, your values, and your vision? And that takes a lot of soul searching. You have to evaluate those companies, because if you're going to embark on this and invest your time and your money and your resources, even though it's on your own terms, you want to make sure that it's for the long term. It's for the future. It's not just a fly by night type of thing. So think about that. And then, protect the goal. My goal was to work around how I want to live, not live to work. And that would take on a life of its own because of who I'm aligning with and who I'm partnering with. And who did I choose to align with? I mentioned this briefly in last week, but I decided to align with a company called Canaway. And I did that after a lot of research and personal experiences. So my business partner asked me to come and evaluate this company while I was recovering from that second surgery that I showed on the picture anyway. And I thought, wow, I never thought about, cannabis. And so I went because I respect her and she is a dear friend. And I tried some products first, and it was an amazing thing. But within 3 months, with my doctor's help, I was able to get off of all 10 of my prescription medications with his help. That's very important because people are on a lot of different medications. Most of mine were for physical pain management. And I'm not making any claims here. That was just my personal experience. And what that told me was I need to look further because this is something incredible. I was already a medical marijuana patient and that wasn't happening. So this was definitely something special. I started doing my research. I started working with people in the company and started learning, and then eventually started training others. And it's where I have been for 8 years now. And I think it's important. So when you're looking at a company, especially in this industry, the hemp industry, the wellness industry, you have to really think about quality, integrity, and experience. It matters. I know there's a lot of new startup companies that are trying to do things, and others have paved the way for them, and that's beautiful too. But what was important to me in this respect was, how many people have they helped? How many governments have they legislated change with? How many laws have they changed? How many governmental bodies have they spoken in front of about cannabinoids? And how much research have they done? Do they work with scientists? Is the soil clean? Is the plant full of cannabinoids, or is it genetically engineered in a lab? All of those things mattered to me. And Canaway was the only one that ticked all of those boxes for me. And I wanted to have a company that was family friendly, that had an image that was important to me, that was to all. It wasn't about drug culture. It wasn't about marijuana or pot or weed. It was about this beautiful hemp plant that really the settlers of America brought it with them for good reason. Every colony had a hemp farm. It goes back though to ancient Asian civilizations, and it is one of the 50 fundamental herbs in ancient traditional Chinese medicine. So there's a lot of things, and we will talk about these points on subsequent calls. But when I did my due diligence, this is where I landed, just so you know. Okay. So now let's talk about the transition a little bit more. So after you've now decided that you want to do this, and you've chosen a company, a business model that you can get behind and that you think has integrity and, has the same purpose and same values as you or similar, can't always be perfect, right? But it has to resonate with you strongly. So now what do you do? So you have to decide to structure your business and your schedule. So maybe in your job, you had a structure. You had to be to work at this time, and you had to leave at this time, and you got paid for those hours. Your lunch was at this time. You had meetings at this time. You worked on this at this time. And now all of a sudden, you're just sitting here at your desk for the first day of your new business and you don't know what to do. This is real. So make sure that you work on, and if you can't do it yourself, partner with other people in your organization or people in different online communities to help you understand how you can structure yourself. Get a calendar, old school, or put it in your phone calendar that hourly, blocks out what you're going to do. Even your personal time, because you could work all the time when you're an entrepreneur. No one's telling you to stop, just like no one's telling you to start, which is really nice. No one's telling you to travel or when not to travel. You decide all of that, but you need to have a structure. That's my advice on that. And, you have to also decide if you're going to rely on your entrepreneurial income as one of multiple streams of income or just the sole one. I think something that a lot of people realized during the pandemic was that a job can go away just like that. Something you thought was really solid. It's so important to have the insurance policy of another stream of income. And if you speak to experts, they will tell you that the wealthiest people in the world all have multiple streams of income. None of them have just one. It's impossible. So we should take their advice. Some of those things, like people who've started Airbnbs, some of those things are great, but they are a lot of work. And some of them are passive. Some of them build over time and then provide residually, which is what I like. But it is important to have multiple streams. So what will those look like? I took a mindset course and we actually had a chart with a bunch of circles around it. And we just started filling in what the different sources of income are that comes into our family. And then if there's any blanks, you just fill in, what do you think you could fill it in with? What other things could you possibly generate income with? So that was a really telling exercise. Learning how to pivot during times of uncertainty. Are you going to freeze or are you going to move? And that's a really hard choice, because the easiest thing to do is just freeze and blame it on the uncertainty. That's one of the things that humans fear the most, is uncertainty. So we have to decide to pivot, but sometimes we can't do that alone. And then the bottom line, especially for me, is to have faith in your own gifts and talents and believe you will succeed. Self-motivation and mindset management are key. So it's important to learn how to market your product, how to network with people, how to design a website maybe, or find people, who can help you build your business. But it's so important to manage what's going on in here, because you will convince yourself of so many things if you don't work on mindset. And sometimes you need help with that. And, we all have our little talents, and I love surrounding myself with people who have different talents than me, but we have a common thread that we want to help people and be better and help other people become better. I think there has to be that thread. So my vision and the people that I align with, our vision is sharing hemp for humanity, sharing hemp all over the world. Right now, we're sharing it in 47 countries. And hopefully that will continue to grow, because it is an amazing plant, isn't it? So how I help entrepreneurs get started, just if you're curious with how I did this with my business partner, here's what we do. So first of all, we provide a low overhead, low liability business model. So if you're working from home, if you're a mompreneur or a solopreneur, you have very limited resources, but you have the drive and the energy and the excitement and the willingness to go out and help people and do work, it's very easy to set it up. So that's first. Second of all, you need an e-commerce website and a mobile app to do business anywhere, wherever you are in the world. And that's also part of what we help you get set up. A back office to manage your business with marketing materials, which is nice because you don't have to create a lot. The point here is just to share and start helping people. So we want to help you do that. Training and mentoring from an international team of experts. We have a team that comes from so many different walks of life and so many different types of experience, different ages, different nationalities, different ethnicities. And I think it's so nice to be able to align with people like that. And they help train and mentor all of our team. We have a proven system of success with tools to leverage for your own growth and for the growth of a team that you will build. hands-on support to build distribution and team by market, because that's basically what we do. We try to expand distribution of this amazing hemp business all over the place. And there are no territories. It's all fair game for everyone. And so when you meet people and this comes up in conversation, it's so nice to not have any restrictions or boundaries on where you do work. It's where you want to. And the Kannaway company provides all the customer support and shipping. So I love that. I'm not in the business of inventorying products and carrying products. I want a website to do all that, because I just want to put people in front of a link and help people understand how amazing these products are, because of my experience and thousands of other people that I've met over the last 8 years. And look at all of these countries too that I get to do business in. US, Puerto Rico, Mexico, UK, EU, Japan, South Africa, and now Philippines even. So that's very exciting. And this is what we do. These are just some great moments. We get to share hemp and wellness as a lifestyle with everyone of all ages, as you see those little tykes there. That's us in the center when I did a ribbon cutting for my business here in North Carolina. And on the right, that's an event we did at the Oscars Gifting Suite in Hollywood before the Academy Awards a few years ago. So very, very exciting times. And I just want to say to everybody here that, you know, we all have our stories, and the story of my accident and injury and pain and all of the struggles is not the story that I carry with me today. It is something to remember, and it is something that I hope will inspire you, whatever you're going through, that you can overcome. And you can't just sit alone and try to get through it alone. You have to be with other like-minded individuals that lift you up and that inspire you and motivate you to be better, to do more. And I'm here if anyone has questions, who needs help, anyone who wants to chat. I have a Calendly link in my email signature, and I will also, if you watch the first video, you'll see it on the last screen and you can take a screenshot. I will also put it in the chat and on the recording. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. And I look forward to hearing about your new business venture potentially, and how you're all doing out there. And I would love to help you. So looking forward to talking soon. Take care, everyone. Bye.